This is the one question I ask every man to see how he really thinks about a woman. Whatever they answer says everything you need to know about his fucking subconscious. Okay, are you ready? This is the question you ask. If you were a girl, what kind of girl do you think you would be? You'd be shocked. Every single man I've asked this question all have the same fucking answer, low key. There was like one or two that's like, okay. Majority, all have the same fucking answer.
If you say the wrong answer to this question, women are going to be pissed with you. I thought it was reasonably obvious that this is just a test and she's fishing for validation, like the right answer is a woman like you. I thought it was pretty straightforward, but then I saw comments like this. My boyfriend said, I'd choose to be you. Ugh, I guess it's a win. She doesn't seem that happy and I was confused, like, is that not the right answer? Because if that's not it, then what is the right answer? And I'll admit, this hooked me in. And so I started scrolling through the comments section, mapping out what are the answers that women like and what are the answers that women hate. And I'm so glad that I did because it reveals so much about modern women's psychology. So how would you have answered this question? Get that clear in your mind and then wait to see when your answer comes up and whether or not women liked it or hated it. It's really interesting. So let's start with the answers that were heavily upvoted, like the answers that women really liked. I'd be the same, but angrier. What's the reason behind your anger? Men. My husband just answered, I'd be angry. I'd be a really angry girl. I think he gets it. Okay, so big points if you are an angry woman. That's a good answer because that means that you get it. Of course you'd be angry because of men. Women love this answer. You get lots of approval. That's some quality pandering, just like this one. I'd be a managing director, but I'd make 21% less. Oh yeah, women loved this answer. Really validates their sense of victimhood. Big points if you talk about the gender pay gap. You also got these answers which women loved. Once I asked him and all he replied was a lesbian. And you know what? Real. My boyfriend said he'd be a cottagecore lesbian. Green flag, I thinks. This one made me laugh because I think that the joke just went completely over the women's heads. Like when men answer this question by saying lesbian, it's a joke. It's like saying like, I'm so straight as a man. I'm so into women that even if you change my gender, I'm still going to be into women. It's like a sex joke. But if you read the comments, it's clear. All the women took it as like a political statement. I'm scanning for like any evidence of a sense of humor and they're all, no, they're so serious. Men are awful. So yeah, that's right. You'd be a lesbian because you'd understand that men are just so awful that you could only date women. Women are like, yeah, this guy gets it. This cottagecore lesbian comment, this got 86,000 upvotes. And if you don't know what cottagecore lesbianism is, she explains, it's a lifestyle that reflects softness, nature, a cottage in the woods, dancing in a field of flowers, and enjoying life in the small moments. He loves the idea of men being decentered from womanhood. He is also very politically leftist and feels as a woman he would be queer. Oh man, women, they just loved this answer. They also upvoted men whose answer was like this. I'd be a girl's girl. I want the sleepovers, group chats, fierce loyalty, pedicures, mimosas at lunch, late night visits when life gets too overwhelming and you just need someone. I'm all about that woman on woman bonding, as long as men aren't involved, and that's the right answer. But also, crazy popular was this one. Wouldn't I still be the same person, just a woman? My humanity isn't tied to my gender. So many upvotes. Women loved the answers that pushed the narrative that like gender's just a construct. There's no difference between men and women. We'd just be the same person. So those are the correct answers. I'll just summarize. I've got this image. If a woman asks you, if you were a woman, what kind of a woman would you be? Here is how you should respond. I would be angry. I would be a lesbian, I would be a victim, and I would be genderless. Those are the popular answers. But as you look at that, ladies, please think this through. Is that really what you wanted to hear? Is this the femininity that you want men to aspire to when they imagine themselves to be women? But of course, that's only half of the story, because what answers did men give that really angered women? That's coming up next, and it's very revealing. But you know what else is being revealed is how difficult it can be to kick bad habits. And sometimes we all need a little help to break these habits. That is where Fume comes in, the sponsor of today's video. It's not a vape. It's not an e-cig. There's no vapor, no nicotine, just flavored air. They have a huge range of flavors and they're all really good. My personal favorite is the raspberry lemon, but there's heaps of variety. The device itself is really fun to hold. It's weighted, it's like clicky and twisty. It's very tactile. It's fun to fiddle with, and it doesn't need charging. There's no battery. You can take it anywhere. It's super simple. Over 500,000 people are already using Fume as part of their daily routine. And right now, if you grab the Journey Pack using my code Alexander Grace, they'll throw in a free Fume topper just for my audience. So go to tryfume.com/Alexander Grace or just scan the QR code on screen. Give it a try. Seriously, you'll see why I keep mine within reach. Okay, back to the video and women asking men this question. If you were a woman, what kind of a woman would you be? Remember, these were the correct answers. Women loved it if you said that you would be angry, a victim, a lesbian, or you'd be genderless. But what were the wrong answers? Let's take a listen.
The most common answer is that they think they would be really hot and super sexy. And then the second common answer, which is honestly kind of gross, that if they were a girl, they would be for everyone and they would fuck a lot of dudes. It's hard to deny that there isn't undertones of misogyny and patriarchy, but like, is that a surprise?
In my experience, they always say I'd be a hoe. I'd be a gold digger. Oh wow, color me shocked, Brian. Listening to her second video and scrolling through the comment sections, it's clear these are the wrong answers. Do not say that you would be attractive. Don't say that you would sleep around a lot or that you would marry a rich man. That reeks of misogyny. That's offensive. But wait a minute, why? I'm sorry, haven't we just had decades of relentless programming telling us that women getting plastic surgery and doing OnlyFans and sleeping around is empowering for women? Isn't being a gold digger a lifestyle choice, and insisting that men pay, isn't that just women having standards?
I'm not bringing a fucking thing to the table other than this fat ass, these big titties, this pretty little fight. That's it. That's it. That's all you get from me. That's it. And I'm going to take your money 100%. Yes.
Okay, ladies, here's the deal. You can tell us that that attitude is empowering, or you can shame men for saying that they would choose to be that kind of a woman. But you can't do both. Sorry, you cannot tell us that it is empowering for women to be promiscuous gold diggers and that any man who judges her choices is misogynist, while at the same time saying that it is offensive for men to say that if they were a woman, they would be that kind of a woman. Can't do it. Gotta pick a lane. And the fact that none of you women saw this inconsistency in your own comments is so funny. How did you not realize the implications of the words that you were typing? I mean, seriously, the corpse of your hypocrisy has been rotting for decades now. Surely even you must be starting to smell it. Because let me tell you, even if you haven't picked up on this yet, men have. And they're done. You have to pick no more Schrodinger's feminism. So make up your mind. Is promiscuity and getting men to fund your lifestyle empowering, or is it offensive? You have to choose. Now, I'm guessing a lot of you guys, when you heard this question, your answer would be something like, I'd be a wife. I'd be the sort of woman that I myself would want to marry. If that was your answer, then apparently you're in a minority. Notice how none of them say housewife. Funny how they never mention wanting to get married. Reading those comments, I'm shocked. I'm like, what, really? Like no men gave that as the answer? No, turns out they did. But those comments were way at the bottom because the men who answered that way got roasted and downvoted. My boyfriend said he'd be a good woman and cook and clean, whatever that means. Girl, that means run. I'd be a mother and a loyal partner. I'd support my husband, appreciate him, and care for the emotional well-being of my family. Well, that answer didn't go down well. He described a therapist, maid, cook, and nanny, unpaid. So what's going on here? Why the outrage? It makes no sense until you remember that in modern relationships, it's only meant to flow one way. It's fine to have expectations on men, but not on women. Asking a man to be a good father, to protect, to provide, that's wonderful. But asking a woman to cook and to clean and to care for the family, That's toxic. Again, this reveals where the values of modern women are. Now, I'm going to tell you how I answered the question, what kind of a woman I would be. But really quickly, I wanted to cover two more things that I noticed when I was scrolling through the comment section. One amused me and the other made me really sad. A girl with accountability. When I saw this, I was like, oh, burn. But then I was shocked to see there were so many upvotes. What I didn't realize is that women saw this comment completely differently than I did. The top response was 100 men versus accountability. See, when I read it, I was like, yeah, because it's a well-known thing that women have difficulty taking accountability. That's like a known weakness of the gender. And so a man saying like, I'd be a woman who takes accountability, that's like a subtle burn. Like, yeah, if I was a woman, I would make sure I would be that kind of a woman. That's how I read this comment. And if that was the intent of the man who answered this way, it went completely over the women's heads. That's what I found funny about it, is because I don't think they got the joke. The way they interpreted it was that, yeah, men don't have accountability. So if I became a woman, then suddenly I would be imbued with accountability by nature of my gender. And then you've got all these women like cheering and upvoting it like, yeah, tell him, sister. That genuinely surprised me, and it makes me think that I must be in my own echo chamber, because I didn't realize that you could interpret that differently than the way that I did. But is this a thing in feminist circles? Like, is this a meme that like men are the gender that don't have accountability? Do they think of themselves as like, yeah, we're women, we're the accountable ones? I have no idea. And I don't know the original poster's intent, but yeah, I thought that one was funny. The second one made me sad though. Looking at the other answers, I think I might have misunderstood the question. My answer was just, I'd be a wildlife biologist and nature photographer. I already enjoy these, but I was talked out of it because they were not conducive of providing financially for my future family. I really felt for this guy. I understood his pain, as I imagine every man does, at having a hobby or a passion that you know is not going to be practical in terms of providing for a family. And so you put your dreams and your creativity aside in order to do what is financially responsible. You know, as a man, that the financial burden falls on you. So yeah, I could empathize, but that's not actually what made me sad. What made me sad was this comment. Oh gosh, in all my years, I never really considered the point of view of men who can't pursue peaceful careers that make them happy because it's not provider wages. That sucks. I mean, it's a nice response. It shows empathy for men. But for me, reading that was like a gut punch. I thought, wow, really? Like, that's the first time you've ever thought about this? That core struggle that every man knows intimately, that sort of defines our life of sacrifice and taking responsibility and providing for others, putting our individual dreams aside for the sake of those that we love. This is the first time you've ever thought about it? How is that possible? Basically, every man has to go through that journey. It's one of the defining points of masculinity, is that sacrifice. And you have never thought about it before until you read this TikTok comment. It made me sad because it kind of reinforced how this sacrifice that men do, it's going unnoticed. It's going unappreciated. Women don't even realize, they don't think about it. And men are kind of victims of our own sense of honor here, because in our kind of stoicism, like, we don't want to burden the women in our lives with our struggles. We feel like that's not the manly or courageous thing to do. We're meant to just sort of silently suffer. And maybe if that stoicism was acknowledged and rewarded, it might make sense. But at this stage, I think suffering silently and not educating women about what it's like to be a man is really biting us in the butt, because rather than being grateful for the fact that we're suffering in silence, women are just completely oblivious to the fact that there's anything difficult about being a man, that we struggle in any way whatsoever. That's not good. I truly think for so many of these modern women, they have spent zero time contemplating the male experience or what it means to be a man. And often the first response from women when you educate them about male suffering isn't sadness or anger or denial, it's surprise. I had no idea that you were a human being who had issues that you went through. It's depressing. Now, as to my answer, what kind of a woman would I be? I should think that it's pretty obvious. I said, well, like Emily, you know, the woman who I chose to partner up with, the mother of my child. That seems obvious to me that that's how you should answer this question, is that you should want to be the kind of woman that you yourself would want to date. So I didn't struggle with this question, although a different variation of this would be I'd try and be the kind of woman that I am raising my daughter to be. I imagine that's how a lot of fathers might have answered this question. And that's actually what I want to spend the rest of this video talking about, because thinking through the implications of this question, how you would want to be as a woman, should have a large impact on the way that you raise your daughter. And too often, fathers kind of step back and just say, oh, I'll be active in my son's life, but for my daughter, I'll leave it for my mother to raise her. Women raising women, that makes sense. No, that's a huge mistake, and I'm going to explain why. I've got a lot to say. I'm going to spend the rest of the video exploring this topic. If you would like to keep watching, then please come and join me on Patreon. What you see posted here on YouTube, these are just the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. If you want to see me go into a lot more depth and nuance, then you're really going to enjoy the Patreon versions of these videos. And remember, if you're ready to kick that bad habit and get yourself something fun to play and fiddle with, check out Fume.